Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's me, Alta of Wisdom. After 2 months of beta testings, I'm finally ready to ship my creative delay time spiral. And you're gonna see that I've put quite a lot of features in that. Most of the features that I like to see in a delay. So it's just not a basic delay, but something a little bit more creative. And I've even added a very specific kind of delay, which I personally haven't met before. It came as I was developing it, and I had some ideas about how a delay could be a little bit more creative than just a BBD or digital delay could be. But let's not get too much ahead of ourselves. Let's have a look at that delay. So let's have a look at the interface first. Simple and pretty straightforward. Let's just close that. So this is what you get when you just open the plugin. So from top to bottom, just have a basic stuff, input level, so you can tweak the input audio, the output level, so you can fine tune as well the output audio of the overall plugin, and the mix knob, which is pretty simple. Here you see the BPM, which corresponds to the BPM of your project, but if you're running the plugin in standalone, then you can tweak that by clicking on the device and dragging up and down. You can on a digit. Then one of the key concepts in this plugin is that it's not either you're gonna have it in beat, sync, or milliseconds or samples. The overall delay that you're having is the actual sum of all the delays which you tweak. So for example, I can say I want a quarter plus a few milliseconds, and then this display here tells you how many beats, how many milliseconds or samples correspond to the sum of what you've done. So if I go negative, then I'm going to remove to my delay some of the some value. So it allows you to do some very precise things. So I want typically 1/4 plus a few hundred of samples. Then you have 3 types of delay. And so that's the key point, of course. The digital delay, which is the standard clean delay, which you will have. It doesn't have any artifacts. And you can tweak the crossfade when you're changing the value, so it doesn't click. Next, you got the BBD, so bucket brigade delay, which allows you to have some nice and convenient pitch and low pass effect when you tweak the value of the delay, and so it's a classical effect. And finally, the spring, what I call personally the spring BBD delay, which is that new thing which I've added, in which the actual delay, when you change it, will not actually converge to the requested value, but it's gonna go overshoot and get back around the value until it actually finally reaches the requested value. So it causes, similarly to the BBD, it causes some pitch effect, but they are not just going in one direction and synchronizing, so they will go above and below the actual value, plus the fact that you can have control on the number of taps, so how many voices your delay has, and also how heavy and how fast they converge. So we're going to see that a little bit more in detail with the demo. So actually, let's start with a digital delay, which I'm going to play on that vocal. Let's have a listen without the plugin.
Beneath the binary ballet, where codes cavort and algorithms animate.
So nothing fancy, just a vocal. Let's switch this to digital delay with a simple crossfade, and let's have a listen. So mix is at 50%, so we should have just a quarter plus something.
Beneath the binary ballet, where codes cavort and algorithms animate. The euphoric.
So you can see it's pretty clean. There's no artifacts, there's no aliasing, there is nothing. And if I change the value of the delay,
beneath the binary ballet, where codes cavort and algorithms animate. The euphoric embrace of techno and
can see it's not clicking. So you can change the crossfade value if for some reason it's not what you want. Anyway, now on to the bucket brigade delay on the same sound. You see that as we tweak the delay value, and then let's just remove the automation reading so I can play with it.
Beneath the binary palette, where codes cavort and algorithms animate, the euphoric embrace of test
So you have this graph display in the middle, which actually tells you, I mean, it shows you a few things. So now, so of course, on the horizontal, it's the timeline. So now it's just right now. And here is the value of the delay. And here is double the value of the delay. So I can, as you can see, we're in 120 BPM. Let's just, yeah. So that's this window, which is in the middle. So this is 120 BPM. And we have a quarter, so that's actually 500 milliseconds. And so you can see here that we have 1000 milliseconds. It allows us to see the actual value of delay. And what you actually see is the value of the delay on the horizontal and the pitch on the vertical. So anything which is above the line will actually be perceived as higher pitch, and everything below the horizontal line will be perceived as a lower pitch. And so it shows you what's actually going on and how fast you are actually converging to the requested value. So here the retune down is maximum, so it's actually not converging at all. If I put that to a very small value, then you see that it's going to happen much faster. But the pitch effect will be, of course, heavier. All right then, and let's switch to the third type of delay now, because that's the one I wanted to show you. And I'm gonna, before playing anything, I was gonna show you how it works. So here I've put something which is pretty extreme, because the weight and the tension are the two parameters which allows you to control how elastic the spring will be and how heavy it will be. So if you put minimum weight and minimum tension, you will have something which will bounce around the requested value a lot and for quite a long time, even infinite. So let's just have a look at what it does. Well, let's put the mix to maximum so we can just hear the springs. One tap. Oh, need to loop. Yeah, it can get pretty crazy if you jump really from distant values. So now let's try and increase the number of taps. So the weight and tension spread allow the taps to have different values and have different behaviors.
Chords cavort. The euphoric embrace of techno envelopes us, echoing the enigma of existence.
It's better with a little bit of dry, because it's causing some phasing.
Where codes cavort and algorithms animate, the euphoric embrace of techno envelopes us, echoing the enigma of existence and evolution beneath the binary ballet, where codes cavort and algorithms animate. The euphoric embrace of techno envelopes us, echoing the enigma of existence.
All right, let's get back to something cleaner. Regular tension, regular spread, just one tap, and 1/4, which is what I did have.
Beneath the binary ballet, where codes cavort and algorithm.
So it's the right time to have a look at the other tabs here. Filter section, it's pretty straightforward, but with few quirks. So we have 4 types of filter. I mean, actually 3 types, which is known. So filter is deactivated. One pole is a classical 6 dB slope filter. SVF, a tight variable filter, which is smooth and which works great with modulation. And Big style infinite impulse response filter, which is usually the most resonating one. So it's a bit more digital sounding, so it can be a little bit harsher if that's what you're after. Let's put that to SVF. Then you have low pass, high pass, and band pass. And in band pass, there is a quirk here. Instead of setting the low frequency and the high frequency, as you can have in many EQs, you're actually selecting the center frequency and the width of the band pass. It allows you to highlight a given frequency and decide how wide it is. But if you increase the Q, you're gonna see those ripples happening next, left and right. So they are actually happening. The distance between those two is the 2 octaves, and this is the middle. So this is 1 octave minus 1, 2, and times 1. And it can allow you to highlight a specific area with some harmonically matching resonation, because 2 octaves means that this and this are at the same pitch.
Beneath the binary ballet, where codes cavort and algorithms.
And finally, you get the routing, which allows you to decide if the filter will be applied before the signal gets into the delay, right out of the delay, so before the output mix, or which is probably more aggressive, is both filtering the output of the delay and as well what is fed back into the delay. So if you have some Q, for example, here, and you select this option, then you get this ripples then applied on the feedback, and so they will actually increase and accumulate as the delay goes, so you can have more resonation, so it's a bit harsher, and it can easier blow your speakers, so beware if you're switching to that mode. And that's pretty much it. You have a spectrum if you want to monitor input, output, or both.
Beneath the binary,
And you can decide how many bands you want to display.
where codes cavort and algorithms animate.
Then we have the ducker. I mean, let's go back to something nicer.
Beneath the binary,
Right? Then you have the ducker. So the ducker, if you don't know what it means, it's a compressor which actually will tame the delayed signal depending on the incoming signal. So it's not the delay compressing itself, it's a delay compressed by the incoming audio. And I feel this is a key feature in delays, and I'm pretty pissed off when I see delays which don't have that feature. Of course, you can emulate that with audio routing inside your DAW, but I always find it easier and more convenient to have that inside the delay itself. So it's pretty straightforward. The only interesting feature here is the drive. I've added a saturation drive here, so it's analog style saturation. I don't like that wording, but it's it's not too digital, and it can go from very subtle to something very aggressive. So let's have a listen. Yeah, you can really destroy your sound if you push that too high. So let's tame that. Then you have the regular settings for compressor, threshold, ratio, attack and release, and a need to have something which is not too, triggering not too fast, not too instantly when the signal goes above a certain value. You have a makeup at the end of the chain, which reapplies some gain after the compression. Beware, this adds up to the feedback. So if you have feedback which is supposedly not blowing, but you add 6 dBs, then you can be sure that this will go to some feedback which is more like 200% or something like that. So beware if you're playing with the makeup. And finally, we have a brick wall limiter, which allows you to decide and to clip anything which is above a certain level, and it's the last resort safety for the output of the plugin. And finally, the last thing is the loudness graph. It allows you to actually see what's happening in terms of levels. You can clear the graph, you can zoom in and out. And you can activate or deactivate specific values. And clicking on one will actually reset it to -0, to -infinity. There we go. So that's pretty much it. Let's get back to what it was. I think 40%, something like that. Let's have a listen before switching to the next source.
Beneath the binary ballet, where codes
All right then. Now let's go back to this one. So this is a regular pad. Let's close this thing. Let's bypass time spiral and play this pad from Falcon. Nice, clean, not so much movement, and we're gonna add that with the plugin. So what I've done here is spring body, a little bit of feedback, straight delay, 1/4, plus a modulation here coming from Cubase modulators on the milliseconds. Not too much, so it's just a little bit like a few, 10, around 30-ish milliseconds. And that's pretty much it. Tension, yeah, get something wrong here. Tension is low, taps is maximum because I want something like a chorus, so a wash of bad sounds, nothing too bright or listening with a wide spread. There's no filter, there's some drive and a little bit of ducking, though I'm not sure it's useless. It's useful here. So as you can see, it's quite subtle, and you hear the actual delay pitching a little bit, wobbling around the pitch when you stop transport. And this is what is adding this wash and the what I call the quality of the output sound, with making it a little bit more live than the initial pad. Let's switch to the next one. So this drum loop. Again, without the plugin. And with time spiral, a lot of feedback, bucket brigade delay, and no change here. Just for now, it's deactivated. We'll see. And but the thing here, which is important, is that I've set it up with a very specific value of milliseconds and samples and a lot of feedback. And as you can see with these small values, the plugin is also displaying something here, which is the actual pitch of the delay time. So if you know that a pitch corresponds to a frequency, and a frequency corresponds to the numbers of cycles which are happening per second of the audio if you have a sine wave, and so you can determine how many milliseconds or samples a given frequency is by cycle. And if you do that and increase the feedback, you get what is called the Karplus Strong effect, which actually creates pitch style effects out of the delays. Let's have a listen. And if you see, if I change the delay value, you see that we're gonna hear another pitch. And it tells us it's a B0 minus 28 cents. So we can be pretty precise, go to one sample. That's a bit too obvious. So I just have that tiny resonator. So filter is bandpass and focusing mostly on the lower side of the frequency to avoid having too much of high-pitched stuff, which can be harsh. There's no ducking, and that's pretty much it. Next one, a more complex synth. No, not this one. Thank you. And switch off. This one is interesting, so I'm using the actual drive. So delay is not too high. It's modulating by a modulator here, and there is actual filter with focus on two given frequencies, so it gives us some kind of enhanced resonation. This is what we hear. Plus, we got some drive here, and we've put the ceiling quite low. And if you can see, let's have a look and listen at the same time. So it's compressing a lot, and the ceiling as well is taming the signal, and it gives us something which is pretty aggressive, very warm. It almost sounds as if we were playing the synth through a guitar amp and recording that into a mic again. So it's some kind of amp simulation stuff. Just with playing with the drive and the compressor without anything else changing, apart from the small modulations on the graph. Yeah, it can click a little bit on that one because it's pretty aggressive. Probably the compressor is working hot. Now the arpeggio. So this one is kind of loop with both a bass, some drums, and organ. So it has several instruments playing at the same time. Let's deactivate the plugin first. Some kind of full stem that you want to use. Let's check at the settings. So Spring Beauty, we got a modulation here happening. Actually, yeah, there's a modulation happening on the samples, so it's pretty subtle. A lot of feedback, but a very small delay. So you're gonna see what it does. Let's have a look. There's some filtering, so we are focusing on the two frequencies with quite some resonance. There's no saturation, just a little bit of ducking, I guess. Let's have a listen, but it's a lot of mix, and with the filter, it's gonna give us some kind of very lo-fi sound. can hear it's pretty phasey due to the fact that we have a very small delay. So this is usually causing phasing between the raw signal and the processed signal. And as we're moving that, it's actually really causing a phaser, creating some kind of phaser due to the feedback, and hence what you're listening to. Simple. The next one is on a classic guitar. Let's have a listen. Shut the plugin. It's pretty clean. Want to keep this cleanness, and yeah, that's it. And so we have quite a big delay. Digital, we want something as clean as possible. Just focusing on the narrow area, which is nice for human ear, and not too clashy with the original sound. And we probably have some ducking. Yes, there's some ducking here. We definitely don't want the echoes to clash with the raw signal. It's just for creating some kind of ambience, as if you were in a cave, and so the guitar player was in the cave, so we have some echoes, but they are tamed. Let's have a listen. So there is no feedback, it's just one single echo. Because if I add more echoes to such a rich instrument, it's really going to clash with it, even though we have the ducker. And that's pretty nice. And let's switch finally to the last track, which is a vocalist. Again, let's hear that a little bit in dry. It has been warped, so it's slowed down compared to the original one.
Drowning in my tears, can't find a way to breathe.
And with the plugins, so a lot of pickback again, long delay, some modulation on the delay to cause, in the spring VD, to cause some slight pitch effects. 2 taps, so not too much to avoid clashing or washing out the sound. I want to hear the repetitions a little bit. No filter, strong drive, pretty strong drive, intermediate, and here I'm taming the output because probably it's stacking up a bit with the feedback. Let's have a listen.
Drowning in my tears, can't find a way to breathe.
We probably can add some low pass and one pole, something not too harsh, so that the vocal is just muffled a little bit on the echoes.
Drowning in my tears,
so we can increase the feedback then.
can't find a way to breathe.
Now you can see the one pole doesn't have any resonance setting because it's not a type of filter which allows to have some resonance. So it's cool if you just want to clean things up, not to change the actual sound. You don't want to color that.
Drowning in my tears.
Now finally we can have a listen to the whole sequence, just leaving out this drum loop, maybe not the drum loop, but at least this one, and keeping only those, just for the sake of having that, and let us play it until the end. here we go. So that's pretty much it for Time Spiral version 1.0.2. If you like the plugin, head to my Gumroad of one of my vendors to get it. I hope you like the video. I hope the tool will trigger some inspiration for you. If you'd like to support me even further, I'd be grateful if you can head to my Patreon and just support me. It's like a few bucks per month, and this helps me a lot to keep going and keep making new plugins, updating both the previous one and my Max for Live devices as well, and being able to cope with the changes in operating systems and frameworks and stuff. And anyway, so feel free to go there if you want to, and if you don't, then just a like will be more than enough. Thanks for your time, and I catch you up later.